And now, after years of planning, sweating, and going broke, here is the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
I'll alert the media.
Why they would give this man a podcast is anyone's guess.
Then there is what could only be a bizarre coincidence or something else.
Welcome to the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
Country music and fine moonshine. Finally, a podcast that lets it all hang out.
Let's level with America.
Got your boots? Ready for some whiskey?
These boots are made for walking.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
And now, the Boots and Whiskey Podcast with Jim Belisle.
Hey everyone, Jim here, Boots and Whiskey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today we have Erin. I always screw this up. I've looked at this now 4 times. I'm still going to fuck it up probably. But Erin Lunsford is here. And if I said that wrong, you guys know how this works. It's probably par for the course. But Erin is here. This is an episode, we recorded this a while ago. And as it happens here at the show, shit happens. Now, this is one of those episodes where, and you're going to see it, you're going to see the moment or hear the moment in this show where I mean this no disrespect to Erin, but like I got into the conversation. There was I want to say the first half of this episode, I wasn't sure where it was going or how it was going or if she even wanted to fucking keep talking to me. Because you can tell, you can feel that we don't see eye to eye. How does that sound? And that's okay. That's why we do this show. Like, and that it made me. I was thinking about it. It made me realize like that's okay, and that's what we need in this world are people that don't agree to have conversations and still finish the conversation, right? And that's what this episode is. And you'll hear it, you'll see it. You're going to see the moment and go, here we go. So Erin, thank you so much for being here and being a part of this. Like I said, like I almost wish I would have put this episode out weeks ago based on all the bullshit that happens in this fucking country. Anybody that knows me, this is the greatest country in the world, but y'all are going fucking ape shit. So sit back, relax, enjoy. That's it. What did we do? What have we done this week? Drake White. Holy shit. We'll get into it on the flip side, but if you can see a Drake White show, do that and do it quickly. If you haven't, and if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, we'll get into it. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Thanks for being here, guys. Here you go. Enjoy. Erin, here you are. So I don't know what you know about this show, but it's not like a lot of things. It's actually not like a lot of things. We aren't very professional to start off with. We're just gonna have a conversation and get to know you, and there's no holds bar here. If you want to swear, if you want to talk shit, like that's kind of what we're here for. So
okay, sweet.
I'll let you get it started and tell us, kind of a little bit about you and
sure,
and who you are and what you're doing and why you're here and all that. And trust me, I'll think of something stupid to say before it's over.
I'm Erin Lunsford. I'm living in Richmond, Virginia, but I'm originally from Fincastle, Virginia, which is in southwestern Virginia, in Appalachia. And I am a singer-songwriter. I'm a front woman for a band. I play banjo and acoustic guitar and piano. And my main instrument is voice. And I've been releasing music in this past year, just released a few singles leading up to an album release next spring. And it's kind of an Americana folk pop project, very storyteller-centric. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
That's awesome. So I've always wanted to, I played drums in high school, not very well. Like I could fake it with everybody else. But I've always been curious about the banjo. Mm-hmm. Is it as hard to play as it looks?
It's pretty difficult. I consider myself a novice of the banjo, but I'm not. I should give myself more credit, but it is tough. There are a couple styles too. So there's the clawhammer style, which is what I play, and then there's the traditional bluegrass, the roll.
Yeah.
And I can do a little bit of both, but I primarily play clawhammer style. But it is challenging. I think it's way harder than guitar.
Yeah. I mean, it looks it. I mean, but I mean, if Kermit can do it,
True.
you
And how
know,
many fingers is he working with?
right, right. So what makes you want it? What makes you pick up the banjo of all things?
Well, I grew up playing bluegrass music down in Southwest Virginia. My whole family plays. My papa plays bluegrass style banjo. So I learned a little bit from him growing up, but I primarily played bluegrass guitar when I was growing up, flat picking style. And then when I went to college, I took some banjo lessons because I was just drawn to the sound of it. It's just so beautiful and can be really haunting depending on how you use it.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I started writing songs with it, so I felt like I needed to learn the instrument better.
that's awesome. You know, because it is one of those instruments that is very, particular. Like it's not like you can hear a song and hear a banjo and be like, "What was that?"
Yeah,
You know what that is.
right. It's
So
recognizable.
right, right. So like when you're growing up in the area you grow up in, is that like a staple, like the banjo? Like I don't want to say like everybody knows how to play it, but like you know,
Yeah, I see what you mean. I guess in the bluegrass world, it is.
yeah,
Um, but I feel like the way that my family talks about bluegrass is that it is not as widely received and not as prevalent as it used to be. Like when my mom was growing up, she also plays bluegrass guitar. Um, but it's kind of like if you're going to play bluegrass, there's got to be a banjo
yeah, yeah.
in the equation. It's kind of part of making the sound complete.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I hate to even say it this way because it's gonna make me sound like a complete douchebag, but like, it's got that like deliverance kind of
Hmm.
feel to it,
It
which
sure can.
I love it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I love that because you're right. You kind of touched on it. Like, it is eerie. It is, you know, it sends a chill up your spine, and sometimes in a great way, and sometimes in
Hmm.
a not so great way.
Hmm. Can go either way.
Yeah, yeah, and not every instrument does that.
Right.
It's very interesting.
True.
Now,
Yeah,
do
I guess
you?
because of the way it's been used in pop culture, it can
Right?
evoke really specific feelings.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Now, when you're writing songs, do you write them with the banjo in mind, or are you writing them from a different, space?
Yeah, sometimes it's with the banjo. Most of the time I'm doing melodies and hooks without an instrument, and then I take it to an instrument to kind of fill out the rest of the song. I'd say 70% of my songs are written on the guitar.
Yeah. Now, when you're writing them, are you writing them with, an intent, or are they just kind of, flowing out?
Good question. Um, Sometimes it depends. Sometimes I'm writing with a really specific intention, like writing a song for someone or writing a song to fulfill something for myself and let an emotion out. And then sometimes I feel like the muse is just flowing through and I've got an idea and I have to honor that and see where it goes.
Yeah,
Um, so it can go both ways, not always super intentional with the goal.
yeah. Now, do you find that, you know, when you're writing for either somebody else or to get something out, like, do you find that the writing process is easier one way or another if you're doing it to get something out rather than, oh, this person or that person made me feel this sort I mean, I guess both ways are feelings coming out, but
True.
when you write for somebody else rather than writing for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess when I said writing for someone else, I just meant like occasionally I will write songs with someone else in mind, like thinking about their story, or
Gotcha. Okay.
sometimes I will write songs as gifts to people. So that's like another exception to what I said. But I think it is easier when it's truly my heartfelt feelings. Like when I've got a big feeling that needs to come through in some kind of art, it's usually ready to come out and I can kind
Yeah.
of get there a little quicker.
Yeah. 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 Now, so like in this process of you doing this and making this your thing, like at what point did you know, okay, I can do this?
I'm still questioning that. I don't know.
That's fair. That is
Imposter syndrome is
the
so real.
it is.
Um,
It's
I do believe in myself and believe in my talents. And I think when I was in my early 20s and I entered a couple songwriting competitions, I entered a couple voice competitions, and I won several. And I started to feel like, okay, I keep getting praise for the art that I'm making. Um, that was kind of pivotal for me, but I think what's made me feel most like I can do this is just the way that the art makes me feel. I feel so fulfilled when I get to perform my art and share stories with people. It's like the most wonderful connection, and it makes me feel
yeah,
most like myself. So as I grow older, every performance opportunity is such a blessing and such a awesome way to live my life to the fullest. Like I just feel so lucky to do this.
yeah. It's funny that you talk about imposter syndrome because I feel like it's something everybody in this industry, regardless of how big or small you are, like has.
Yeah.
And it's not talked about enough. It's one of
Hmm.
those things that we all have it, and
Yep.
it just, I mean, I know, I don't get up on stage and perform or anything, but like I've been in situations where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Hmm.
Like this I don't belong here. Like,
Right.
like anybody I'm with will always be like, well, you've worked this hard, of course you do, blah, blah. And it's like, bad,
Hmm.
no, nope, nope.
Yeah. There's so much imposter syndrome in the industry, especially for women too. Like I've been in so many situations where I have not been respected as much as I should have been.
Yeah,
So that contributes to it as well. But we just gotta, know our worth and know that I'm bringing value to the table, and my voice deserves to be heard.
yeah. Now, for things you've done, what are some of those moments where it's like you get it, you're playing a show or wherever you are, and you kind of look around and you're like, I don't, this is not where I belong, or not where you
Hmm.
belong, but like, how the hell am I here?
Oh yeah. I've had plenty of moments like that. I mean, just last weekend I got to open for Sarah Evans in Virginia. And she's been one of my favorite singer songwriters since she started. Um, and I was on stage getting ready to open for her, and there were 8,000 people in the crowd. And I was like, how did this happen? Like, how
Right.
did my whole journey lead to this moment? This is so special. That was definitely one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you've lived in Virginia your entire life.
I have.
So let me ask you this, because it's like I've seen it, I've noticed it. There's kind of like I don't want to say weird in a bad way, but a strange sound. Either way, it's going to sound bad. But there's like this push of country artists that are coming out or have been out and just kind of making a name for themselves that are from, Virginia, West Virginia, like that whole area where you wouldn't necessarily think, you know, country music, right?
Hmm.
So being from there,
Hmm.
what do you think that is? How do you think that has come to be a thing? Like
Hmm.
my first thought is, like a band like 49 Winchester.
Yeah.
Like, and they're, in certain circles they're the biggest band around.
Yeah.
It's like, how does this happen?
That's a great question that I may not know the answer to, but
And that's
my
okay.
my 2 cents would be, um, Southwest Virginia has the oldest old time fiddlers convention in the world in Galax, Virginia. Bluegrass and roots music is from Virginia.
Yeah,
Like it started in Southwest Virginia and northern North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, and that all meets Kentucky and West Virginia in there somewhere too.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, the Appalachian Mountains have been full of it,
yeah,
and it kind of trickled out into the rest of Southwest Virginia as well. So I think that tradition's been there a long time, and country music, you know, took some took a page out of the bluegrass book a little bit, and out of the roots music book, and out of the black music book, and all kind of came together in this gorgeous way.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a term that people get offended by, but I don't, because I don't have a soul or boundaries or give a shit about anybody else. But you know, I live up in the I live up in New England, right? So we're in the
Uh-huh.
Boston area and all that, and like,
Nice.
so country, yeah, yeah. So country music up here has become huge. Like, I don't know
Hmm.
how, I don't know why. I have my theories and thoughts about it, but you know, there's still a lot of pushback,
Mm.
especially in this area where it's like, you know, we get labeled pretty quick around here when you're like me and you just all you care about is country music, right? Um, but like, for bluegrass and roots and all that, and that, that corridor of the country, it's hillbilly music, right?
Mm. Hmm.
And I know people call me a hillbilly all the fucking time, and and I'm like, I just own it at this
Yeah,
point. But
badge
like,
of honor.
right, but like, and the way we use terminology nowadays, and everybody gets all fucking crazy. But do you when you hear that sort of thing, when it like, does it bother you? Does it, you know, to me, I wear it, right? But like,
Hmm.
when you're playing it and you're from that area, does it piss you off that it's still labeled like backwards, like all that kind of shit, kind of music?
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't really get called names like that. And if I did, I think I would be flattered because I feel like living in Richmond now, it's like I've lost my accent a little bit when I talk. It still
Yeah,
comes through when I sing sometimes or when I drink, especially.
yes, man.
Um, but I'm so proud of where I'm from. And I think it's a really special and cool thing to be a hillbilly or a redneck.
Yeah,
I super identify with the redneck thing. Um, and there are different activism circles that I'm a part of that like rednecks for black lives and all these different people that are kind of reclaiming the word and making it educating people about it, and like it's not necessarily a bad thing these days. Like we can reclaim what this means and stand in it proudly.
right. You know, I love that you're in Richmond. So I a few years, okay, it's probably been 8 years now. I was down in Richmond for a weekend,
Oh, cool.
and yeah, it was. I went down. A buddy of mine had to go to a wedding, and he wanted somebody to take the ride with him, and I wasn't invited to the wedding, so I all the wedding stuff he was doing, I was just poking around the city and having a grand old time. Because I'm a big history guy, so I did a lot of that. I did a lot of the history stuff and all that,
Hmm.
and went into certain, local bars and
Hmm.
restaurants and stuff. And you guys have some of the coolest shit I've ever seen down there. And like,
Yeah.
the food was fantastic. The
Hmm.
beers were great. Like,
Yep.
that was a whole culture I wasn't expecting.
Hmm. Richmond's so vibrant. I moved here
Yeah,
in 2018 from Charlottesville, which is just an hour away, but it's way smaller.
yeah,
Um, and I just wanted something bigger and more challenging. And the Richmond scene is so gorgeous. There's so much music here of all different kinds. I
really,
just went to a world music concert in Richmond last week at this really tiny, like 100-person room that was completely sold out. It was so weird and fun and like nothing I'd ever heard before. And then the nightlife scene is amazing. There's so many. I mean, I'm like doing a commercial for Richmond now. Sorry, but
no, it's
um,
it's totally fine. We don't talk about it enough.
but it's great. I love living here.
Yeah.
Lots of culture.
It's, anybody that's traveled or done anything, outside of their hometown or whatever, like, you don't really realize what's out there until you go, right? Obviously, that makes
Right.
sense. But like, when I was in college, so I have my degree in political science, so I was in and out of
Mhm.
DC all the time in
Hmm.
my late teens, early 20s and all that. And then, so like, when you think Maryland, Virginia, that area, like, that's what you think, right? You think it's like Washington D.C.
Right.
You think it's the Beltway, the whole state.
Yeah.
And then you get out even just a little bit, even if when you get into like Alexandria, right, and just keep going south, like, it is such a gorgeous state that I think like
Mhm.
a lot of people just forget about.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think of Richmond or most of Virginia as being like Northern Virginia.
No, no,
It's
you can't.
definitely it feels like a totally different
It really
mindset
is.
up there.
Yeah. And it's so weird because it's like, being from the Northeast and like having to go south to go anywhere. Like you get outside of New York City and like into like Pennsylvania. Like even Pennsylvania is like it's almost like a whole nother world. As close
Yeah,
as it is,
right. Mhm.
it's a whole different culture.
Yeah, for sure.
Now for you, for what you're doing, how much traveling around have you gotten to do and see different things and be a part of things and be like, "Ooh, I want to do that," or "I want to spend more time here, there," or that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I have another project that I've had for 15 years now called Erin and the Wildfire. And that band is like indie pop soul. So it's kind of different from my solo project. But we did a lot of touring when we first started. Like really the first 10 years until COVID hit, we toured all the time. And we went to Boston a couple times. We played at Bill's, that's right next
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the ballpark.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I've been in Bill's several times. I don't think I've ever
yeah.
left Bill's. I think I'm still there, but yeah,
I don't think I ever left Bill's either.
yeah.
They
No,
so
no,
it was the
that's
middle of winter and we played. They had the doors open
yeah. I'm sure they
to
is.
try to get people to come in, which was fine, except for that we were on stage, fingers freezing.
Yeah,
It was a very weird show, but we had a lot of fun. Um, but anyways, we've toured the East Coast a ton, Florida up to Maine, um, and found some of our favorite cities that way. Some of the smaller places have been some of our favorites too. New York still kind of scares the shit out of me, as well as
yeah,
Boston. Like any of those big places, just because I'm from a small city, make me
right.
feel kind of intimidated. But we've had lots of beautiful experiences there. I love touring, and also now I feel like I'm too old for touring, but I still will do it.
I,
But
I,
I used to have more energy for that kind of thing and be fine with like 2 hours of sleep and being in a nasty ass van all day.
yeah,
I mean, I love it and it's nostalgic, but I'm trying to kind of schedule my touring and my time spent performing in a different way
yeah.
these days.
Have Have you ever been to Providence?
I don't think I have.
Now, like after going to Richmond and kind of compare it, like Providence is very similar. It's
Ooh, okay.
it's a big city. It's
Yeah.
not, but like it's got that small town, small city vibe. Where
Yeah.
you're in the city, but you know you take the wrong left hand turn and you're out of the city that
Right.
quick. You know,
Right. Yeah, Richmond is kind of like that. It's not
yeah,
very big.
no, and it's for all the things you see on TV and in movies and then all that, Providence used to be that way, but it's
Mhm.
not so much anymore. Especially if you're in like the downtown touristy parts, like it's
Mhm.
great. It's a good
Nice.
time.
I've heard people say that Richmond is a lot like Philly. I've been to Philly a few times on tour. So I don't have like the best sense of it. To me, it seemed really big still.
Yeah,
But people say it's got kind of a similar heart to Richmond.
yeah. I've been to Philly once, and it was like we were in and out in a day. I would love to spend more time there, but like we did all like
Same.
the touristy stuff,
Mhm.
which was still great. But
Yeah.
yeah. Now, so for what you're doing with your music and all that, what is with this project and your solo stuff? What is the ultimate
Mhm.
goal for the rest of the year, next year, so on
Mhm.
and so forth?
Yeah. Okay, here's my business plan. um, I have a new song coming out in just a couple weeks. I'm not sure when this will air, but it's called Strawberries, and that's my next single that's coming out. And I'm going to do one more in the fall as well. But this next song is all about community care. And it's about the proverbial garden that we could all be a part of if we just share our resources and take care of each other. Um, so I'm going to do a little mini tour in September that's going to be a fundraising effort for different food pantries in Virginia. trying to address food scarcity and like talk about it a little bit, and also raise some money for food pantries. All of that coupled with me doing little performances along the way. So that's my next big project, and I'm announcing those tour dates now. And then another single in the fall, and then I'm gonna release the whole album in March of
Nice.
2026. So like, I guess there'll be 6 songs on it that will be brand new.
Now, how long have you been working on this?
I mean, some of the music that I'm recording for this album is 7 years old.
Really?
Just because I released an album in 2020, April 3rd, 2020. It was a huge bust. I had everything canceled, obviously because of COVID. So I never got to tour that album. I'm like still sitting on some of the merch because I never took it anywhere.
Damn.
So this is me kind of revamping this project and trying to give it attention again, because that was a huge loss, like financially and honestly in my heart too, because it was such a bummer to not be able to take that music out. But I had songs that didn't make it on that album because I'd just written them. So now here we are 5 years later. A lot of that music I did put on this album, and I'm trying to put as much on it as I can because I have more songs than I know what to do with. But some of them are as new as I wrote them just this year,
All right.
all over the map.
Now, do they tell a story, or are they just songs? If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Good question. Um, this album feels like um, a lot of it feels like heritage in a way.
Okay.
A lot of the songs are about my roots and me leaving home, but my identity always being in Southwest Virginia, um, and me kind of finding myself in this new city, and how my identity has blossomed here. Some of them are kind of political and speak to how I think we should be treating each other and caring for each other. Um, but yeah, I'll have to. That's a really good question. I'll have to think more about what I'm going to stamp as the overall theme for the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah. Because I always find it. I talk about it all the time. Where it's like, I grew up, when I was growing up, my parents listened to rock and roll. Like that's what it was. And some of my favorite albums of all time are concept albums, right? So it's like
Mhm.
I always, to me, and I know it's not this way, but like to me, every album is a concept album if you really sit down and listen to it, right?
Yeah.
But the ones that were concept albums that did tell a story from start to finish, or
Mhm.
like I was in the car the other day and I started listening to Pink Floyd's The Wall for the first
Mhm.
time again since I was probably, I don't know, in my mid-20s, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like,
Mhm.
to me,
So good.
there's nothing better than that.
Yeah.
And but then I go back and listen to some of the albums of bands and artists that I like now, and like I don't know if it's just me or the intent is there, but like to me, those all tell a story from start to finish too, in their way.
Hmm.
Or maybe I, not to make this about me, but maybe I'm making it my story. You know what I mean? If that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, of
So
course it does.
I always find it interesting, like what the intent is with albums, because I don't think enough people put out albums anymore. But
Hmm.
that's a whole other conversation too.
I know. I love albums. I love listening through. Like one of my favorite artists, Madison Cunningham, just released a single. I don't know if it was this week or last week, but I was listening to it and I'm so excited for it. And that's the only thing that's out. So I can't go devour the album yet, which I'm
Right.
sure it's just part of the marketing plan and there will be an album for her. But yeah, a lot of people don't do it that way anymore. But I love the whole story arc of an album and getting to really experience an artist that way and hear what they
Yeah.
have to say. And letting there be lots of different kinds of songs and sounds on an album that can help paint the full picture.
Yeah. And like it, whether it's intentional or not, right? Like
Mhm.
I think that's the beauty of music, where you can, somebody like you can put out a collection of songs, put out an album, whatever, and it means one thing to you, but I could
Mm-hmm.
listen to it or somebody else could listen to it and it's going to mean something totally different, and that's okay. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
that's the best part of all of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. As people, if people identify with the lyrics in their own way, that's the dream.
Right.
That they feel
Right.
something that makes them self-reflect. Like, yes, please.
Right. You know, I it's funny. I have a really good friend, and she's a huge Taylor Swift person. Right.
Hmm.
So like, she'll send me Taylor Swift songs that are deep cuts or whatever, and I'm like, all right, but like, and then I'll send her something that I think is like upbeat, and
Hmm.
in the way I think of things, and she's like,
Yeah.
that's the saddest song I've ever heard, and I'm like, no way, like this. I mean, it's sad. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but like, and that's like the intent of the song, but like,
Yeah.
it's upbeat. It's got a little, it's got a little bass in it. It's fine, you know,
I do
and
get
it's
that
like,
feedback sometimes that my songs are too sad, or
right,
that not that they're too sad, but that they make people cry sometimes. And I'm like, are you okay with that? Or,
right.
you but I think a lot of times my songs are so storyteller, and I like to talk about them before I play them too, so that people know where I'm coming from, and people just put themselves in my shoes and like live it that through their own lens.
Yeah. Now,
It's a good thing.
do you ever find yourself even now with your songs, whether how new or old they are, or sad or happy, or whatever the emotion is, when you were initially wrote them, do you find yourself playing them and kind of like getting choked up or having different emotions based on the night or whatever it is?
Yes, absolutely. So just last weekend when I opened for Sarah Evans, that was in my hometown, kind of. It was in Roanoke, Virginia. And my whole family was in the audience. And like I said, the songs on this record, a few of them are about family. And one of them
Yeah.
in particular is called Watch Out for Deer. I just released it a couple months ago as a single. And it's about missing home. And it's kind of got the Southern "I love you" of I watch out for deer, be safe when you drive home. But it's also the story of me missing home and wishing I could be there more often, and just missing the moments with my family and not even knowing what I'm missing because I'm not there. Um, my brother and sister-in-law live there still, and both my parents, and I just I get emotional when I sing that in front of them, especially in my hometown. So I actually almost got choked up when I was singing it for the Sarah Evans concert, um, and had to collect myself a little bit and keep going. Um, it does make me really emotional depending on the setting, especially if my family's there. I'm just such a family person, and it's a really big part of my identity. So anytime they're in the room, I can kind of lose my cool because I get emotional.
Now, how many siblings do you have?
Just the one brother,
Okay.
younger
Like,
brother.
it's funny. I love the way you talk about your family and all that, because, like, I'm an only child,
Hmm.
and my parents mean the world to me. Don't get me wrong, right? But like, I don't know if it's because I'm such an asshole a lot of the time, or just stubborn or whatever. But like, I think about it all the time. Where like, I think about it, and maybe it's the only child syndrome and the selfishness, and I will own that till the end of time, right? But like, as much as I would miss and love my parents, like, that's all.
Hmm.
It's all I have. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
not like, if I were to go somewhere else, one, I know those two crazy fucks would follow me anywhere I went.
Oh,
You know what
really?
I mean? Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I were to pack up and move to Middle Tennessee tomorrow, they'd be like, "All right, well, we'll figure it out, and we'll just go." And it's like,
Aw,
which is great,
that's
right?
lovely. Yeah.
Right. Is it? My dad's gonna listen to this and be like, "You're such a dick."
Uh,
but um, but the only reason why I don't do it is because I have two kids that I have to
hmm.
think about. And
Hmm.
right, wrong, and indifferent. I'm over two with baby mamas, so
Hmm.
it's until they're old enough. Like, this is home, and this will always be home
Sure.
in one way or another. But you
Hmm.
know, New England is not where I want to stay. So
Interesting.
it's interesting to hear it from your perspective, where it's like,
Hmm.
home is, like I said, Massachusetts will always be home, but I could not live here for a while, that's for sure.
Sure. No, I mean, that's kind of where I'm coming from is I don't want to live in Fincastle.
Right.
There's like two cross streets and not even a coffee shop, I think. Like it's, and I love living in Richmond and I don't want to live in Southwest Virginia anymore. And yet, like you said, that will always be home. That will
Right.
always be where my heart is and where my family is. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, and it's kind of endearing where, when I talk to people or are in contact with people that family is a big deal, because growing up for me, I don't want to say family wasn't a big deal, but I think it's one of those things where, my aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody, we lived all so close that we'd see each other, but we wouldn't, and it wasn't a big deal,
Hmm.
like it'd be like, oh, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, come on over, kind of thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't one of those kids where, most kids sleep at their grandparents' house or have sleep, do all those sorts of things with their grandparents. I never had any of that. You
Hmm.
know, one set of grandparents are always super old, and the other set
Hmm.
was just it's a whole nother story. But
Yeah.
like I never had those moments. So like when my relationship with my grandparents, especially with my dad's side, you know, those relationships blossomed as I got older because it was like I think I could be wrong. I think it was because of I never had it. I don't want to say never. That's so bad.
Hmm.
But like it wasn't like most kids. I hear
Hmm.
all the time most kids are like, "Oh, I was with my grandparents and this and that." And I'm like,
Right.
if I was with my grandparents, we went there for an hour every couple of weeks and just so and that
Hmm.
was it. You know?
I think people realize the preciousness of family at different times.
Yeah.
Not everybody has it. Not everybody ever gets it. So it's. I think it's beautiful that at some point you realized what it meant to you, and I
Yeah.
certainly wasn't like an appreciative 10-year-old or anything. Like I
Right.
didn't have
Right.
any clue, how good I had it.
Right.
Until I got into my early 20s and I had moved away, and I was like, oh shit, I really miss all my family connections. I miss how close we were, how often I got to see everyone. Um, so I guess I'll excuse my child self for not having gratitude, but I do now.
And it's my dad's side was pretty big, right? And I see some cousins on that side, um, and like we'll talk about things, or they'll talk about things, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I wasn't there. Or like they have
Yeah.
every family has pockets of
Mhm.
of who's close and who's not, and it's just interesting because it's like you have the same connections but different stories.
Mhm.
Which is also pretty cool when you think about it within a family because
Mhm.
you all have this common thing that
Right.
you know for some is different than others.
Right. Same bloodline, different experiences.
Yeah, yeah, or same experiences that you just don't talk about anymore.
Also that. Not everything has to be discussed at every Thanksgiving.
That's right. That's right. Um, you know, Speaking of which, like, so for you, for as far away from home, as far away from home as you are now, like, how do you make it a point to go home for holidays, or does it
Oh yeah.
depend on what schedules are and all that?
It depends on schedules, and I'm married, so now we have to split all the holidays and everything. And his family lives here in Richmond.
Oh, okay.
Um, so at least they're all really close by, and we do see them more often than I get to see my family. But it's only 3 hours, or for me, 2 hours and like 43 minutes
Got a
because
girl.
I got a little bit.
Yep. Yep.
I'm just trying to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not too far away, so we can still, make the drive for holidays. I'm there almost every other month for something, and I
Oh,
also
nice.
tour through Roanoke pretty often. I do more regional touring more regularly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I try to make it home for birthdays and stuff like that, and definitely major holidays.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that. I love that we're talking about this because it's a lot of people shy away from it, which I get. Trust me, I totally get.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah,
it's
family
nice
can
to
be
hear.
complicated.
Yeah, but it's nice
Yeah.
to hear somebody like you talk about it so openly, like how much it means to you. I think that's cool.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, if we're being totally honest, I have guilt for not being there more often.
Oh, I'm sure.
Um, it's funny that you and I are talking about this because just yesterday I was talking to my dad about I have like four, maybe five songs at this point about missing my family and about my parents in particular and how I'm terrified of them dying. And I know that it is a part of life. And also, I'm preemptively sad. I'm preemptively devastated about it.
Right.
And I write songs about it, semi regularly because it's something that weighs on my heart. And I was just talking to my dad about that yesterday and about there's just never enough time, even if I spent every moment with them, which I don't want to do, but I kind of do also. Even if we spent every moment together, it's never enough. You
Right.
know,
You know,
it's
like
just
I'm
also fleeting.
right. You know, I'm in a situation where I did have to move back home, right? And you know, God love my parents, and I know my dad listens to all of these episodes, so I know I'm sure I'm going to hear about this, but that's fine. Um, you know, like it's one of those things where it's like I love my parents to death, right? But like you know, like I have so much going on in my brain,
Mhm.
things that I don't feel like anybody else will understand, right? And
Mhm.
even though they're my parents and I know I can talk to them about anything, it's one of those things where it's
Mhm.
like you don't want to at the same time.
Mhm.
You know, does that make
Yeah,
sense?
of
And it's
course. Yeah.
like, you know, my parents come to me all the time. They're like, "What's wrong? What's going on?" And it's like, it's that old cliche. It's not you, it's me, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Where it's like,
Mhm.
you know I could beat this to death, and you know what's going on, and I could beat it to
Mhm.
death, and you're still not going to understand. And you know what? A part of me is very grateful that you don't. You
Yeah.
know, and it's
Mhm.
like a little bit about it is like, you know, my parents say all the time, "Well, why don't you talk to us?" It's like because I'm also trying to protect them. As weird as that
Sure.
sounds, you know, it's
Yeah.
like I worry about me enough. You don't need to, too. You know, just I'm
Yeah.
okay. If I'm not, I will let you
Right.
know. You know,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
it's so wild, you know, because it's like,
Mhm.
you know, I've had, you know, and some of it's been to my own doing. You know, I'm well aware of my hand in a lot of my bullshit. Um, and that's also a tough pill to swallow too when you're trying to,
Mhm.
you know, tell your parents things or talk to family about things where it's like
Oh yeah.
you know the story, you know what's going on, but I
Mhm.
don't think you understand my hand in it too. You know,
Sure.
whether you want to accept it or not, like, you know, I've
Mhm.
also put myself in this position and
Sure.
what do you want me to do about it? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, so it's fun. It's fun in a way where it's like and like you don't really realize how much you don't want to live with your parents until you have gone away and then come back. And it's not
Sure.
them. And it's not them at all. It's just like that,
Yeah.
okay. You know?
Yeah. Different phases of life.
Right. You know, I
It's hard to come back for sure.
it is. You know, it's like I'm pushing 40 and my mother's still like if it's, you know, a certain time of night and she wakes up and I'm not there, it's like, are you okay? Where it's like
Mhm.
dude, I've been a vagabond for 10 years. And, you know, if I wasn't home
Mhm.
by midnight, you would have never have known. You
Yeah. That's
know?
sweet though that
It
they're looking
is.
out for you.
It is. You know, so it's like, it gets to the point where it's like, you know, my parents go to bed early because of what they do for work. So it's like, if I
Mhm.
know I'm going to be out late, I'll just shoot a text at this point and be like, I'm alive. Don't worry. We're good. You know?
Yeah.
But it is nice. It's nice. It's endearing, but it's also like, you know, I'm not a little kid anymore, mom.
Mhm. Right.
But yeah, we have gone off the rails with this conversation.
That's okay.
It is
We're
okay.
talking
I
real
don't
shit.
care. Yeah,
It
I mean
happens.
that's exactly what happens. Now let me ask you a personal question because I have
Mhm.
no boundaries. I don't care. Do you have children yet?
Go for it. No.
No, so smart. I have a couple. And trust me, they make it.
Yeah.
I love them to death, but they make everything complicated. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I'm not
whatever.
sure. We're not sure on the children stuff yet. We're still
Yeah,
parsing that out.
yeah. How long you been married?
It less than a year. I just got
Oh,
married
nice.
October 24. Yeah, so
Oh, congratulations.
we started dating. Thank you. We started
Welcome.
dating in COVID. Actually, we went on like a socially distant first date in the park where we tried to keep like 6 feet of separation. Yeah, and now we're constantly in each other's personal bubble, and it's
That's
great.
awesome. That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, that's good. I'm happy for you. Because
Thanks.
usually I'm the one. I'm like, don't ever get married. Don't fucking do that shit. Like,
I
oh,
mean,
that was the
relationships are freaking hard.
they are. I say it to everybody. Like, I was married, got divorced, and I say all the time, it was the best and worst thing to ever happen to me.
Hmm.
And it
That's
and
beautiful.
there's and I think anybody that has gone through that understands that.
Hmm. Right. Totally. Well, I had a really big heartbreak in my early 20s and was single for not 8 years, 9 years, and got so much songwriting out of that feeling,
I'm sure.
and that's what fueled the last album. But since I've been in this stable relationship, I've been writing more than I ever have before because I think my anxious like heartbreak self finally feels safe enough to allow myself to have a creative outlet all the time and like treat it like my job. And um it's been really good for my career in that way, that I've got like a stable relationship that lets me kind of explore all that.
Now let me ask you. Now with that being said, do you find that the sad songs are harder to write?
No, they still come.
Oh, nice. I love
I've
that.
still got like the full spectrum of feelings all the time. I'm a big feely person and
Yeah.
have, sometimes really intense emotions about different things, or yeah, sometimes the sad songs still come through for sure.
Yeah. 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 It's one of those things. I don't care what you go through, where you are. And I'm not saying this for you. I'm saying this for me. Um, that anxiety and depression is doesn't just go away. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't. And I hate the T
Absolutely.
word. I hate the T word. I fucking hate it so much. But like that trauma will always be there.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I go to therapy
Yeah, you got to.
because I'm trying to do my part to take care of my little brain and my heart. But yeah, I mean, Daniel and I have been together 5 years now, and um, only in last year, which was our fourth year, that was when my songwriting heart kind of exploded, and I like settled. I felt myself settle. My heart settled. Um, we got married. A lot of things happened all last year, but I think I had done enough work and had enough therapy um, to allow myself to feel safe. And it is not a linear process. It's more like,
Oh yeah,
you know, sometimes we're
yeah,
back down here, um, but yeah, it's all part of that journey.
yeah. And I love that you said that because you're absolutely right. Like I'm between therapists right now, and I think a lot of it is. This is gonna sound really weird, but I felt like therapy was working. You know what I mean? If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And it scared the
Mm-hmm.
hell out of me. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
if we're gonna break down these walls, like I'm afraid. You
Mm-hmm.
get nervous that the person you were will no longer be there, and but you don't know the person you could be. And to me, that was
Mm-hmm.
super scary. So I was like, maybe we're not
Mm-hmm.
going to do this right now. And we're going to make every
Mm-hmm.
excuse on why we're not doing this right now because that's what you do,
Sure.
right? And I'm very quickly getting back to the, oh shit, I gotta go back and do this again, because what I
It
thought I
sounds
had
like
under
you've
control, I really
figured it
don't.
out. Yeah, I mean, the therapy stuff can really crack you open, and
Yeah,
it is scary. Um, but yeah, I hope you find it again if that's what you need, because
yeah.
that stuff can
So
really be revolutionary.
yeah, so I was doing EMDR therapy. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I just started that.
Dude, you want
Yeah,
to talk about crack yourself open real fucking fast. Like, god damn.
yeah,
Like,
that
I
stuff's
was
no
I
joke.
was I was finding out shit about myself that I was like, wow, that was buried deep. Like,
Yeah,
holy moly.
wow.
Yeah. And like that was also scary, right? Where it was like,
Hmm.
you know, regardless of how, like, I have a huge ego, and I have a huge, I think very highly of myself. Probably
Uh-huh.
unwarranted, but I do, right? And then like you get into those situations, you're like, oh shit, maybe I'm not as great as I thought. you know,
Oh,
and not
sure,
and
yeah.
not in a bad way, but just like bringing yourself back down to earth.
Hmm. Yeah, those realizations can hurt sometimes.
Yeah,
Just like seeing things in a different light like that.
yeah. Especially for somebody like me, because like I said, and I have no bones about it. Like my confidence is so, like, it's arrogant at times, and I'll be the first to admit it. I really will. You know, but
Awareness is the first step.
yeah, yeah. Listen, like I know my red flags better than probably anybody, and I'm like, I fly. I'm like, come on over and check out this carnival, because it's a shit show. You know?
That's so fun though.
Yeah, it is. God, we have I have so we last year, a lot of the conversations I had on the show were this, right? And we haven't had a conversation like this in a long time. So I appreciate the fact that
Hmm.
you're having it with me, and you've allowed me to have it, and allowed your story to be out there. Like, I really, that it means the world.
Yeah, well, thank you. You've made it a really welcoming, comfortable space to
Thanks.
get deep really fast. So,
Yeah, like, it's what this is all about. It's just
mhm.
about getting to know somebody, and you
Hmm.
know, I find, like, if you can tell your story and I can tell my story and vice versa, like, it gets emotional and deep really fast, and that's, to me, that's okay. Like I said at the beginning, like, I
Yeah,
have zero boundaries about anything. Like, I'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. Like,
yeah.
right,
I
wrong, or
love that. You're
indifferent.
real.
Yeah, you gotta
That's
be,
awesome though.
because so many people are
Yeah.
so guarded with their stuff, and like, I get it. I totally get it.
Hmm.
Trust me, there's
Hmm.
days where I wish I could be as guarded as most people are. But
Sure.
I have no filter, so I just say whatever just comes out. And
Hmm. That's
and I
okay.
think that's what
I feel
shocks
like,
people.
well, shock value can be good sometimes.
Yeah,
I feel like if I were to come to Boston, we could have a great time having a beer together.
let's,
Like,
anytime,
no question.
anytime you're up here, you let me know, and we will. Trust me, you definitely won't leave bills. That's for sure. You will.
I don't know if I want to go back to Bill's.
You know what?
You're
Actually,
gonna.
there's a lot.
We'll see.
There's way better bars in Boston than Bill's.
Well, I think Bill's is like the only one I've been to.
So
I
right
mean,
right
I
next to
probably
Bill's
went
is
to
a.
more that night. But
Where'd you go?
I said I probably went to more, but I don't remember
Oh,
what they were.
so there's a
I mean, it was
there's
a
a
decade.
bar. There's a bar right next to Bill's, and it's a country. It's a country bar, right? And it's called Loretta's Last Call. It's right on the
Okay.
corner. That's one of my favorite places in the city.
Mhm.
And even with that, there's still way better bars.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, that sounds like you've got a good baseline there.
yeah.
You
Yeah, I
could
mean,
just go from there.
my baseline is to stumble in and black out on the way out. It's fine.
Oh, geez.
No,
Well,
I'm
I
kidding.
might leave before you black out then, so I don't
No,
have to be
I
liable.
haven't blacked out in a while. Actually, I blacked out not too long ago. We were in New York City um,
Uh-huh.
for Cody Jinks and Shane Smith and the Saints, and um, we got rained out for the Cody Jinks portion of it, and we've made friends
Bummer.
in some camps that may or may not have been there, and so we went out drinking, and yeah, I think I'm still a week later sweating out tequila, so that's fine.
New York tequila hits different.
It does, and I don't like tequila to begin with, and but I was at that point in the night where it was like, oh yeah, this sounds good. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Wasn't, was not, but yeah. So here we are. But yeah, it's been great chatting with you and catching up and all
You
that. And
too.
anytime you want to come back, you let me know, and we'll do it up.
Thank you.
We'll do it
I
up.
appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks so much. I love all the people that you're talking to and having great conversations. So happy to be a part of it. Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
anytime, and anytime you're up here, let me know, because
I
we'll
will.
we'll have ourselves a time. We're going down to Maryland in October. We won't be close to you by any stretch, but I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
that. We're going to Country Calling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that should
Awesome.
be interesting.
That's got like a bajillion people on the lineup, right?
Yeah, there's a ton of people, and like good people too, not like you know,
Yeah.
and like they've released the schedule for the weekend last week,
Hmm.
and it's like son of like we're gonna have to run from one point A to point B to it's, but I guess that's what you do at a festival. I don't know. I've never done one.
Absolutely. Oh, you've never been to a festival?
Nope.
Oh, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be all your it's gonna be your people there too. It's gonna be
Yeah.
so fun.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, you
can't
gotta
wait.
map it out ahead of time
Yeah.
so you can make it to
Yeah.
all the stages.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, luckily for me, and this sounds douchey, but luckily for me, a lot of the people that are on this bill I've already seen this year. So if I miss a song or
Hmm.
two, go into the next stage, so be it.
No big deal.
Yeah.
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 Well, that's
Well,
awesome. I
Aaron,
hope you have a blast.
thanks. Thanks. I hope I can keep up is really what I'm hoping. You know. But Aaron, thank you so much for everything. It's been a blast.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Hope to talk to you again
Anytime.
soon.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Fun. Well, there you have it, everyone. Our conversation with Aaron, and like I said at the beginning, like the only thing I can say about this episode is, well, shit, because it was that good. It was that good of a conversation, and honest to God, like I'm sure I'm not gonna put words in anybody's mouth, but I'm sure she hung up the phone at a certain point and was like, "God damn, that was brutal," and I'm sorry for that. But I ended up having a great time. I really did. Um, so, like I said at the beginning, Drake White, a big thank you to Six String and Foxborough and Drake's team. You know, we get to meet him, say hi, take a couple of pictures, see a VIP thing, do the whole show. Like, great dude. Like, if you don't know Drake White's story, go out there and find it. There's a documentary on YouTube right now all about everything, and this dude is absolutely just fucking incredible. Like that's the long and short of it. Absolutely fantastic dude. And you know what makes it even better is that his music doesn't suck. His fucking great tunes. Um, that's it. That's it. So as we're doing this, as this is out, this is probably like you're probably like, Jim, what the fuck's going on? Well, I leave for Florida tomorrow. It's Wednesday now, so I leave for Florida Monday night because we are my oldest biological baby is turning 10, and his mom is bringing him to Disney, and we're going to surprise him. So by that time you see this, that will happen. You'll see. I'm sure you'll see it all of our socials because I don't care. That's my dude, man. So thanks for being here. Sorry, it's all fucking pieced together and quick. I just got so much shit to do, but Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Go check out the other episodes and see you next Wednesday, guys. Until then, be good to each other. Keep those boots on the ground, the whiskey in the glass, guys. Cheers.